I recently got a Gameboy SP from a flea market, and I wanted to go over some of the things on it. So this is actually the frontlit edition, which is less sought after than the backlit, but I actually think the frontlit is good for certain situations. So I don't have a backlit SP, but I do have this regular Game Boy Advance that's been modded to include a backlit SP screen into it, so I'll be using that for comparison instead of an SP. Anyway, I think there's two scenarios that the frontlit's actually better, and I'm going to show you. So for Game Boy Advance games, the backlit is actually much nicer than the While it doesn't look horrible, the games do tend to look a little bit more washed out and dull compared to when they're in a Game Boy Advance with the backlit, because then they look really vibrant and colorful and really nice. I think the opposite is true of Game Boy Color games, though. I think they look a little too oversaturated on the Game Boy Advance with a backlit. So I do think they look better on the frontlit. Part of the reason is because Game Boy Color games are very brightly colored in order to compensate for the fact that the Game Boy Color did not have any lights at all. The other time I think the backlit is actually worse than the frontlit is when you play in sunlight. You can actually see the frontlit screen really well, where the backlit one has a really bad glare. It's actually running right now. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's very difficult to see as opposed to the backlit screen that is actually, it doesn't make a difference if it's frontlit or off, but like it's so much more visible. So if you're looking to play your Game Boy outside, definitely get a frontlit one as opposed to a backlit.